presentation just for you. I've never been delivering it to any customer, so will be a try. Where does it come from? Well, first of all, a disclaimer. This is an incredibly complex area. I'm not an economist, I'm not a politician, I'm just a change agent. And what I'm going to deliver is food for thought. It's nothing like the exact transcription of the report and of the thinking. Okay, just food for thought for you. Where I come from, my area of practice, I'm a consultant, and I consult about disruptive corporate change, organizational change, but disruptive things meaning I work on futuristic strategy, collaboration, collective intelligence, things like that, but also technology adoption and also sustainable development. A whole range of new things that the corporation would like to adopt, but they have no idea how to go there. There are very few examples, so they need to just discover the area. So before I come to the report and to the thinking of prosperity without growth, I'm going to tell you the story of why I have been proposing to Rick to speak about that. But throughout my practice, I've been meeting different concepts and ideas that really strike my gut and that really I wanted to hear more about. The first one was the commons theory. We've been working around that with a group of consultants and corporate people because we wanted to find out if collaboration in corporation has anything to do with how to manage the commons, you know, the river, the fields in a village, and so on. And it's a very interesting area where there has been a few thinkers trying to understand what's going on. What they find out is that people just give up. There's no way to manage the commons together anymore. We're just letting the government or the mayor or whatever do that. And people are just consuming individually, thinking short term, nobody is thinking long term, and nobody is thinking about the commons. And unfortunately, there is no foreseeable change. There's the hope that all the social networking stuff will maybe change the spirit about some of the commons, but it's really, we have no proof about that yet. So this is one of the concepts that I thought was interesting, and that was the first thing I would have liked to connect and to understand how it's explaining what is happening today. Another concept I met was the footprint and calculating your footprint. Everybody has been doing this calculation already, besides probably Jacob. You know about that? Yeah, some of you know about that. So basically what this is, you have several calculators. I choose this one because it's simple. But you go onto a website and you explain, you have a questionnaire, you tell how you live, how much you use your car, if you eat meat or if you're a vegetarian, many things like that. How many times have you been changing your refrigerator, how you use your phone, and so on. And then it calculates how much earth you are consuming. My calculation, I'm almost vegetarian. I just changed my refrigerator, which was 20 years old. I use my car once a week. I try to take the train most of the time. When I travel, I try to take the train first, then plane. So I'm not a huge user of technology and carbon but I'm still consuming, this is my calculation, I'm still consuming 2.5 planes. Yeah, you do it. You do it. But that means that if everybody was living the same way as I am living, we would all be starving. Okay? So that's a concept. So that was another sign, and I wanted to connect that to some sort of understanding of the world. Other signs, to me, that I met, that last November we reached 7 billion people on the earth, and it's growing very fast. We will be 9 billion in 2050 something. There has been huge food riots in 2007, 2008 in many, many countries. That hasn't happened before. So it's intriguing that we have too much food in some countries and not enough food in other countries. What is going on here? And we have many crises, and many of the crises are financial crises. Dot-com bubble, the subprime, and now the debt crisis. These are financial crises. How is that, my question, how is that interconnected? I didn't know yet. Other signs. Because of my practice on sustainable development, I've been looking at very interesting initiatives about CSR rating and groups who were trying to build up rating that would be different from, you know, the AAA or the debt rating and things like that. And trying to help people think about sustainable development in rating corporations. I've been meeting the founder of Vigeo, which is the middle one, twice. And unfortunately, this is very disappointing. Her organization is rating corporations saying, well, you're doing well with sustainable development or you're doing not that well. But nobody cares about it. It has absolutely no effect. No interest from the financial markets. No interest from the investor. It's used for nothing. The sustainability indexes on the stock exchange, you have a few of them. It's somehow the same. It has been hijacked by financial markets to find which startup in the green economy would be financially profitable, make money. It's not make sustainability, it's make money. So, very disappointing. Also, inspiration for me, well, inspiration. Way to understand the word, I've been looking at those two documentaries. I don't know if you know about them. If you don't know about them, they are quite interesting. One is the Inconvenient Truth from Al Gore, where he's explaining where the world is going, how the people, how we have more people, more pollution and so on, and it's quite depressing but quite interesting because he's bringing facts. And the other one is the corporation, and it's showing how huge international corporation or something else than what they should be. So interesting movie. And then last thing, because I'm working a lot with the internet, with social networking and so on, I've got interested in activism. Activism is a contraction of hackers and activism. And it's very interesting, that three movements, very interesting from a sociologic viewpoint. WikiLeaks, these guys have been putting in front of the world something like 300,000 confidential documents from different governments about the Iraq war, about many things like that, about uprisings, about what the army was doing wrong from different governments. You have the Anonymous. This group is a group of geeks and techies that are hacking websites from governments and big corporations when they think that these people have been making decisions that are far away from integrity. They are just shutting down the website. They have been shutting down the website from the French government, from the international affairs in the US, from big corporations. And Occupy Wall Street, which is a group of people who would like the financial area to stop thinking just about money and start thinking about people. What is interesting is that those movements get into the media because they're new, and then they disappear, and the government are communicating about them like if they were terrorists. Well, they are interesting from a sociological viewpoint because these are horizontal movements with no leadership. People just come together. You absolutely don't know how. They have no personal wants or needs. They just want to help. WikiLeaks care about transparency. The Anonymous care about integrity. Occupy Wall Street care about sense for people. So to me, they're really a sign that something is wrong with the system, and the silent majority is moving just to try to slow down the system. And this is where I was about my thinking, trying to connect some dots, trying to understand what is the system doing. When I spoke to Rick, and I told him, well, I'd like to do a little more research on this area. I've come up to a school of thinking called degrowth. I'd like to speak about that. And Rick told me, yes, this might be interesting. I don't believe about it. But yeah, you could be speaking about that, but you're not going to do a pacha because it will not work. You're going to do a presentation. So, okay, I'm going to do a presentation. And so this is where I went. So I started to study degrowth and eventually came to another school of thinking, which is called prosperity without growth. There has been a report that was done in the UK, a report for the UK government in 2009. The guy, Tim Jackson, who led the report, has been publishing a book. It's quite the same content. Very famous. There's a lot of academics who've been working around that. Every political people have been reading it. Everybody says it's very good thinking. Unfortunately, no politician is taking it and putting it in his program because it's so disruptive that if they do that, nobody will vote for them anymore. So at that stage, I was just like Meg yesterday, saying I don't care about being optimistic or pessimistic. I'm way out of that, I'm depressed. I just want to do something good. But I thought, okay, no, this is too, I don't want to give up. In my area of consulting, there's one concept which is called permanent pilot. Because we're working on so new areas, we are not working with traditional projects where you have a study, a beginning, a budget, an end, an achievement, and a ROI. We're just working on permanent pilot, which is try. We try. If it's not good, we try something else. If it's good, we keep it, and we try something more, and so on. So we're thinking, okay, let's try something. Let's try to help with my little means, maybe pass some ideas, make some people aware, and see what is happening and try to help some groups and so on. And this is how I'm presenting to you today, because maybe I'm planting seeds and you will plant seeds and so on. We'll see. So this report is explaining the myth of growth. It's giving a lot of figures about what's going on. It's articulating all the signs I've been showing you before, and this is why it's a great report to me. So you have a few of the figures it is bringing about the global economy. The fact that the ecosystems are being degraded. The fact that since Kyoto, where we said no pollution anymore, the pollution is still growing a lot. And if we would like, in a 9 billion people world in 2050, to have all the people living with an income at just 2% above the average of EU today, which is about our living level, we would have to decrease by 11% a year the pollution, while we're increasing every year. We're still increasing. So there's a too big gap between what we should be doing and what is happening. Very depressing. Why is that happening? Why is that happening? Our economy is based on growth. Since I read the report, I've been listening to the news, and I've been hearing things like, Paris is not competitive. It's not a competitive city because it's not growing. Being competitive means being growing. Okay. I worked in GE in the past, and the GE planning system, yearly planning system, is called the growth Playbook. So planning means growth. And you'll have to listen to the radio or to the TV. Growth is everywhere. Growth means economy, growth means competition, growth means health, growth is everywhere. Profit has been disappearing. Profit became a dirty word, and growth has been replacing that. And it's used everywhere. If you're not growing, you're not living. The cycle is described like that innovation is creating value, because you need to deliver innovation, you have employment. Employment is giving income, which is adding on well-being and also on prosperity, and then you can invest in new innovation. This is the optimistic way to see the world. Now there's a lot of perverse effects that are hijacking the cycle. First of all, innovation is not really innovation, it's creative destruction. How many of you have a phone that has been replaced in the last 2 years? Was the one broken when you replaced the one before?
That's the truth.
Well, same for cars, same for refrigerators, something like TV. Who does not have a flat screen? But very few of us. Okay. So to feed growth, what we are doing is creative destruction, novelty, new things, cheaper things, just to create consumption. And how is consumption working? Because of social status. If you're not consuming, you don't have a social status. You need to have a car, a flat screen, a phone. I have a phone, by the way. I don't have no flat screen, but I have the same phone. So you need to have that, otherwise you have no social status. People are just, how to say that? They have obligations to have that. They don't think about it. It's just a society. It creates a lot of anxiety. These are not what I'm saying, but the finding of the report. Okay? Other perverse effects, because we're having a lot of waste, there's a lot of pollution, global warming, decoupling, which was a hope, saying we're improving with the technology, so more technology means less energy, less weight because it's minimized. So at some stage it's good to have new technology because we will have less waste, less pollution, and so on. It doesn't work at all because we're more people and we have more needs and more consumption. So decoupling is not of no use. It's helping a little, but it's not helping enough. Labor productivity has a perverse effect because now we're doing things, producing things with less people. So as long as the economy is growing, we need more people to produce more things. But if the economy is stalling, then you have a lot of unemployment. Other perverse effect is that, well, I told you the population is growing, but we have a finite planet. So somewhere there's something wrong. There's wealth condensation. It's not all of the people who are becoming wealthier as the richer, and the poor gets poorer. And then all that financial, creating money for money is creating a lot of unsustainable financial derivative. And money, there's too much money, unfortunately, in the world, and it's not used for the people. It's used to create more money. And each time we have a crisis, what the government think about doing to solve the crisis is putting more money on the table to relaunch consumption and relaunch this cycle with all the perverse effects and maybe some more. The report is making all of that very clear, and they have been trying to find out how to solve the problem. What they say is that the growth imperative is a myth. So let's stop doing everything for growth. Let's think about a new way. Growth is unsustainable, but degrowth is unstable. If we go to degrowth, that means more unemployment, more poverty, and so on. So we need some growth, limited growth, and we need to have growth on good things that are worth for the world, green economy. But I'm not going all the detail, but basically a new paradigm is needed. They have been studying, just to have more grounds, they have been studying the happiness compared to the average income. And what they did find out is that somewhere around $15,000 a year, on average, the happiness is not growing anymore. So basically what it means is that when your basic needs are, when you're fed enough, when you have a house, when you have an area to sleep, when you have a family, when you have all of that, you don't need more. Having more money does not increase your happiness and your well-being. There is exactly the same graph about the length of life. The life expectation, how to say that, does not increase anymore above an annual revenue of $15,000. So if you make more than $15,000 on average in the world, you're not going to live longer, you're not going to be happier. So it's rather about quality that we need to find something. It's rather about, this quote is absolutely wonderful to me. When you harvest any small piece of food is wonderful. But sorry for that, when you're an American with a big fridge and lots of things, a small piece of food is just disgusting. Okay? Quality over quantity. It's beyond also, prosperity is beyond material sustenance. That means it's more about having a sense, being useful to the community, to your family, to your neighborhood, than really having money and financial wealth. So they redefine prosperity, all that group work, saying prosperity should be flourishing within limits, flourishing personally, within your family, within your group, your community. And it's not about social status, it's not about consumption. So we need to reorganize the world with this thinking. And this is where it's absolutely disruptive. And this is where nobody has no idea how to do that. So at the moment there's a lot of ideas on what we should be doing, but no idea on how we should be changing the world. Because it's too big change, too complex. So I'll not go into that detail because I'm running out of time. But the report is proposing a new paradigm. It's also proposing 12 different projects and different groups of, I'll say that, political decision, local change, and so on. So you can go into the detail. They give a lot of examples because each of these ideas have been tried in some cities, in some region of the world, and so on, so that it has grounds. But we'll not go into that detail, okay? You can read the report. It's very interesting. It's very, very, very complex, but very, very interesting because it's giving some articulation between all those signs or themes we're seeing in the world. What I'd like to do now, I've been speaking enough, so you're going to work. Okay. We'll have 5 tables. We have 5 tables. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Each table will have a tool to use to try to find new ideas. You're going to discuss 15 minutes, and then you're going to feed back to the room on one interesting idea, each table. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to think about how to help organization, whether corporation, government, whatever type of organization you want, to get ready for a new paradigm away from growth. So remove growth from the thinking. Try to remove growth from the thinking. Even though we don't know what this new paradigm will be. The 5 table will be, this table will be the double loopers. Remember double loop learning? You remember CCC? Yeah. Double loop learning here. So you can change table. But if you like double loop learning, you come to this table. You try to use double loop learning to find interesting idea, and you will feed back on one idea. Table number 2, scenario planning. So you have 15 minutes to do a scenario planning. This is very short. Anyway, so just do the beginning of scenario planning, maybe find the two dimension, I don't know. Come up with something which is related, one idea related to scenario planning. Table number 3. Because this is very disruptive, here I allow you to say this is bullshit. So this will be the table of the people who think everything I just said is bullshit.
We have more friends at that table.
And the word is going to continue the way it is, and our paradigm is good. Okay, so this is the table of the, I'm not saying naysayer, but I'm saying contesters. You're allowed to contest. We're living in a democracy. Table number 4 is about positive deviance. So you two can go there or cannot go there, it's up to you. But positive deviance, find something with the positive deviant thinking and methods. Find an idea. And table number 5, this one which will be something a little bit different. It's about the change leaders, our community. Do you think we should be positioning ourselves? Do you think we should be continuing to think about that? Do you think we should be, I don't know. As a community, should we keep learning about that? Should we do something? I don't know.